Welcome. This is Dr. Murphy. What is effective effort? Well, let's find out. Let's talk to some of the coaches here at Effective Effort Consulting, and let's get to know them, their passions, their strengths, and the impact they're making on students, parents, and adults as they help them develop effective effort strategies and interventions to improve their lives and achieve their goals, whether it's ADHD, executive function challenges, academic challenges, or more complex needs. Doesn't matter. Our coaches are making a wonderful impact out there in the world, and I'd like to share with you what we're doing and how this might relate to you. Hope you enjoy. Okay. Wendy, thank you for joining. Thanks for joining this chat. So really the first real intention of this is to help our community understand fundamentally what effective effort means, right? So when we think about that in terms of coaching, the best people to ask are the coaches that are out there doing this type of work. So do you mind me asking, I just kind of want to start with, what does effective effort kind of mean to you as in the work you're doing?
I actually really love the thought behind effective effort, because I have so many clients come to me and they'll say, planners don't work, calendars don't work, I can't stick to my schedule, I can't get homework in on time, those things don't work for me. So when I think of effective effort, I think of what can we do to make a person's efforts most effective? And that is personalizing the things that they're doing according to their strengths and according to their weaknesses. So it's not just using a planner or using a calendar. It's personalizing whatever planner or calendar they decide to use according to what they're already good at, what they already dislike, or what they already know that they're not good at, and making it work for them so that when they do use it, they're using it in a way that's maximizing their efforts.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. What resonated to me with what you said is this term that comes up with me a lot. I'm not sure if other coaches say this, but I always say learning how to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
Right. And we deal with so many clients that have this undertone of anxiety, this undertone of overwhelm. And as an outcome to the work we do, they feel less of that because they're learning strategies to not work so hard, right? To not and manage the symptoms that they might be struggling with. Awesome. Thanks for your answer to that. What about, so this is really a question really targeted towards you, Wendy, give you a chance to kind of celebrate who you are as a coach and a person, and personally and professionally, what is it about your background that informs the coaching work you do, both personally and professionally? Can you share?
So my background comes from a very developmental perspective, because my bachelor's is in child development and then my master's degree is in special education. So I think as a college student, I was trained to look for the root cause of anything. Whatever outward behavior there is, any of us manifest outward behaviors, there's always a root cause. And so the way that comes out in my coaching is I feel like all these people will come to me saying, I want to do this, I want to do that, but this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And instead of saying, okay, those don't work, what do we do now? I say, okay, what's causing that not to work? What's causing your grades to be what they are? And I feel like that is such an important process, especially in what we do here as coaches, because it's not about throwing out the whole system or throwing out the idea that something doesn't work. It's saying, what aspects of it are not working for you and how can we tweak it? Again, according to their own strengths and preferences. An example of that was a college student of mine who came to me as a freshman, and he had lost his scholarship because he had failed his first 2 semesters. He just could not stay on top of things. He was feeling all the stress and felt like the stress was the only thing motivating him to get things done at the very last minute. Well, we started working together, and it was really interesting because at first he was like, I can't use a calendar. I've never used one and been successful with it. It never works for me. So we started helping him to develop what he called his homework routine. And it looked like for him, putting a certain time frame in his calendar, going to a very specific place, and putting on a very specific playlist in Spotify to be able to create success for himself, because any one of those 3 factors by themselves didn't work. But all 3 of those together worked for him because they were matching his preferences. And I think that's one of my strengths, is helping people find those things within their day, within their routine, so that it works for them, so they don't have to work as hard. In fact, this kid came to me, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and he said, I almost feel like I'm cheating because it's not stressful anymore.
Mm.
And I feel like that's exactly where we want people to be, where they can, and he's getting all A's, he's turning things in on time. And he's like, there's got to be something wrong, because I'm not feeling the stress, but yet I'm doing so well. So I love being able to get people to that place.
Yeah, it's so powerful in helping clients move to a place where they'll never return, they'll never go backwards, right? And
Oh,
especially when
he
they,
tried going back, and he's
right.
like, I don't like going back. I don't do as well. So it's fun that that's out of his comfort zone now. Doing what he used to do and relying on the stress was out of his comfort zone.
Yeah,
So he's
yeah.
like, I need to be doing these things. That's really fun.
Yeah, that's powerful. The behavioral habits that you're working on start to really foster an emotional relationship, emotional connection to the outcome of a new process, right?
Totally.
Yeah, yeah. And you brought this point around those barriers, those obstacles that are impacting performance, and how a client can get stuck in those, and the identity of those barriers, versus like moving past them into strategies, interventions, and just trying to really practice new ways of overcoming them, right? And realizing that you can get there. That's awesome. That's great stuff. Wendy, so what would you say you're most passionate about, and how does that relate with your specialty in this work? Right, we kind of all have the kind of clients that we love to work with, and part of that's because we're passionate about that type of client, but also it really taps into something we're super interested in, right? We just love to geek out on something. And what's that to you?
I love learning about the way that all of our brains work so differently, and helping people understand that about themselves really fuels me. So I love learning about ADHD and what it looks like in the brain, and teaching people that about themselves. And so that tends to be a foundational piece again of what I do. Because once people see, oh, it's not just me, it's not that I'm lazy, or it's not that I can't do this, or it's not that I'm a horrible student, it's that my brain is working this way, and I need to find systems or processes that work differently so that I can do XYZ.
Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. A couple of fun questions. What what makes you laugh?
Ah, my kids, definitely my teenager and his friends. I actually am such a teenager myself when it comes to humor. So maybe that's why they make me laugh. I don't know. It's good
That's
times.
good. That's rare.
It's usually
Rare.
inappropriate joke. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you're a special parent that way. Uh, what is your biggest pet peeve, if there is
Ugh,
one? Something that
oh
just
my gosh. I cannot stand hearing people chew their food or smack their gum. I do not want to hear what's going on inside of anybody's mouth. That's my biggest pet peeve.
we all have one.
Such a nerdy thing. I really am like a 5-year-old in that sense.
No, no, I can't disagree. If my kids were on this call right now, they'd actually be looking at me.
Oh, that's funny. It works.
Well, thank you, Wendy, for joining us in this chat, and thanks for sharing who you are, and for making such a wonderful impact in the community out there. So I
Thank you.
appreciate you and everything you're doing.
It's fun.